Okay, there we are. We got the recording started, and hopefully we'll have some other people join us along the way.
All right.
This way we'll get started right on time. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. So let's look at last week, and I am still grading. I got a couple of emails this afternoon asking if the grades were done yet, and I finished in a couple of my classes, but not all of the classes yet. So if you don't see all your grades yet, they will be there by midnight tonight. That's my deadline. So they'll all be there by then. And we did our discussion. We talked about what motivates us and how to stay motivated and different things that we can do on the days that we aren't feeling very motivated. We also looked at different ways to study with the Aspire plan, and we did the time management spreadsheet where we made a schedule and we listed some goals, short-term goals, long-term goals. And if you have any questions on that, Della, do you have any questions on that from last week, or did it all go pretty smooth? I think yours actually went pretty smooth, if I remember right, because I think I may have already graded your class. So anyway, anybody who's watching the recording, if you have any questions about your grades once they're posted, I do put comments, and I have in the announcements, I've given the instructions on how to find the comments that I leave by going to your grade book and clicking on the little icon that has the comment icon on it. So don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions. So this week, see, this class kind of builds, it builds little by little on how to just be successful, and not only in your academic program, but in work or in life. There's lots of the information that we cover that you can just use in everyday life. And so this week, now that we know we have some new study habits maybe, or we just reinforce the ones that we had, so we're good at studying, we know how to stay motivated, we're getting better at juggling all of the things that we have to do. So now we're looking at how to set our goals. And so the learning content will take you through how to set SMART goals, which all these acronyms that are used in not only in higher education, but in work in general. And so SMART stands for goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And when you make that kind of detail, when you set a goal with that kind of detail, you are much more likely to achieve that goal and to achieve it in the time frame that you want to achieve it in. Of course, life happens and things happen, and sometimes we start something like school and then life happens and we have to wait a little while longer. Sometimes we have to wait years before we can return to school. I know that that happened to me. And the important thing is to keep the goal in your mind, because maybe there's a little detour along the way, but that doesn't mean that you're never going to achieve the goal. And so be as specific about it and detailed as possible. So make sure and do the learning content so you can learn more about how to word your goals. Now, as we move forward, we set our goals, we're going towards our goals. One thing you want to make sure of is that you don't get in your own way. Yes, things happen in life that, like we talked about last week, that we may not have control over, but there's a lot of things that we do have control over. And one of those is our behaviors. And so in the agenda here, I've given a link to an article, which is pretty good, about explaining the things, explaining self-defeating behaviors that you want to avoid. So that's what the article is called. 10 things you need to stop doing if you want to be successful. And I won't go into it in detail here. You can go and look at that article. What I have done is I've listed the 10 things, but some of them are a little bit different than you think just by reading, you know, the bullet point. So we've got making excuses. You don't want to focus on the negatives. You don't want to fear failure. You don't want to look for the easy way out. You don't want to beat yourself up. You don't want to be ungrateful. You don't want to just concentrate on your own needs. You don't want to get distracted. You don't want to live aimlessly, and you don't want to give up. Okay, so those are the basics of it. And in looking through those, there was one that stood out to me that I went, whoa, wait a minute. How is this a self-defeating behavior? And that was looking for the easy way. Because you see, most of my career before I started teaching, I managed businesses, and I had my own consulting business where businesses would hire me to come in and look at the way that they did things. So I would analyze their operations, and I would make suggestions on how they could operate more efficiently. And so I was always looking for an easier way and a more efficient way of doing things. So I saw this that says, you know, you don't look for the easy way. And I thought, well, wait a minute. But there is a difference. There's a difference in looking for the most efficient way and looking for an easy way out to where you don't really have to do the work. And so that's where the difference is. So what I try to do in these sessions is to give you tips and tricks to be able to get your work done more efficiently so that you can get in, do the work, and move on to your next class, right? Instead of taking a whole lot of time. Well, all of them take a lot of time, but so I try to help you be more efficient, but there's no way that you're going to pass this class without doing the work, right? So you can't look for a way that's so easy that you don't have to do the work. And that's basically what that looking for the easy way means. Are there any others in that list that jumped out at you? Like, well, that sounds kind of strange. Any comments on that?
No, not really, other than the time bound, my time management.
Oh, okay. Time bound. All that means, and you'll learn more in the learning content, but what that means is that you put a deadline on it. So if you want to accomplish a goal by a certain point in time, or within the next 6 months, or by Christmas, and that's what it means. It means that you have a boundary on it. You have a timeline on it. That makes sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So go check out that article on self-defeating behaviors and make sure that you're not getting in your own way. Another way that we get in our own way, I guess, is I don't think I have ever met a single person who has not procrastinated on something at some point in their life. If you are one of those people, or if you can think of anybody, I'd love to know. But a lot of times we put off things, especially things we're not looking forward to. And sometimes maybe we're not really looking forward to studying. Maybe we would rather go go to a social event or something like that, even though we know that there's homework to do and we should get that done first. So it's the making the choices, especially while you're in your program here, making the choices that are going to help you be successful, staying out of your own way, and how you prioritize things can help you to not procrastinate. So in here, I put how prioritizing eliminates procrastination, because there's a fine line between those two. So like it says here, prioritizing is about identifying what's important to you and deciding the order in which you will give it your time or attention. So if it's a priority to you, it moves to the top of the list. And procrastinating, these are the things that go to the bottom of the list, and maybe they're not that important to you. And so you have to decide how, what order you're going to do things in. And so last week when we did the spreadsheet, and you had the one section where you listed your tasks and your goals, and then it was do it now, do it later. You had several columns there on when you were going to do it. That is one way of prioritizing. And here's another way. There's all sorts of different ways to do it. Some people just make a list. They make a list of everything they need to do, and maybe they use the ABC method. So A is the most important things, B are the somewhat important things, and C are things that aren't all that important, but I want to remember that I have to do them at some time. Okay, so they make the list and then they just go down and put a 1, 2, or 3 as to how important it is. Or an ABC, a 1, 2, 3, and then here on the screen, I'm showing you a different example. This is from a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And this is just one more way that you can organize your thoughts and organize your tasks to meet your goals. And I liked it because it's pretty straightforward. This gives you examples of what kind of things would go in each one of the boxes. So you've got these different quadrants. So in the first quadrant, you have things that are urgent and important. So these are things that need to be done pretty much right away. So, and as it says here, these are different crises that come up, deadline driven projects, and you're on the deadline, putting out fires. These are the things that are in your face. And then in the quadrant 2, you have things that are really important, but they're not necessarily urgent. Okay. You have to plan things. Maybe some of your the social things you have to do to build your relationships. So it gives you examples of what kind of things go there. In the third quadrant, you have things that are kind of urgent, but they're not all that important, and it gives you a list of things that might be in this quadrant. And then in the last one, these things aren't really important and they're not really urgent. They're just things that we'll do at some point if we're not doing something else. Okay. So this to me was a pretty straightforward way to organize what needs to be done. And like I said, there are many different ways to do it. The important thing is to find one that works for you, that you will actually use, because it doesn't matter It doesn't matter which technique it is, as long as you use it, as long as you do it. Okay. Any questions about that?
Uh,
Yes? No?
no, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then the next thing that I have for you, and this is just a fun little thing because every time I play it, I laugh. I just giggle because I think I want to know if you can relate to this. So let me share this little video. It's not, I have 2 minutes listed there, but it's not even 2 minutes. So let's see. I need to do a new share. Okay. Okay. Can you see the new screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, here we go.
This morning I got up and got ready quickly because I had to get a lot of stuff done. I sat down at my desk to start getting my stuff done and I spilled my coffee, so I got a sponge to clean it up, and I figured I'd take an extra minute to clean the whole desk because a clean desk would help me get my stuff done. When I was finished, I realized I hadn't eaten anything and I didn't want to be hungry while I got my stuff done, so I went into the kitchen and I was out of cereal. When I got to the grocery store, I remembered a bunch of other crap I needed to get, and I figured I was already there, so I did my shopping for the week so I didn't have to worry about it while I got my stuff done. When I got home, I didn't feel like cereal anymore, and so I made an omelet and I did the dishes so I wouldn't have to do them after I got my stuff done, and then I went out to get some oil from the hardware store because my desk chair is kind of squeaky and I didn't want to be distracted by a squeaky chair while I got my stuff done. When I got back, it was getting kind of late and I knew I wouldn't be able to get my stuff done today, so I started watching the Twilight Zone marathon on TV. I just have to make sure I get to bed early because I want to be well rested tomorrow so I can get my stuff done.
Oh, so can you relate? Is there is there ever a time where you know that you have stuff that you need to do, but you find all sorts of other things
Yes,
to
I can
do
relate.
instead? So that's why I like that one so much, because it definitely happens. So okay, so let's see. So this week, obviously we have the discussion, which the main post is due tonight, and then response post is due by Sunday. And this week, we're talking again about motivation. You're picking your quote and discussing why it's important to you and how it will help you stay motivated. And so I really like this week. I like seeing what quotes you guys choose and the ones that mean a lot to you. It's a good week. I enjoy it. Then there are 2 assessments. Obviously you have your learning content that you have to do. That's worth 60 points. So you want to make sure and do that. And then the 2 assessments, assessment A is we're working more on goal setting. And then assessment B is you'll be setting up your e-profile in the Career Center. And so I just want to show you a couple of tips. Okay, so the motivation. Okay, so I'm assuming you can see the worksheet on your screen. So the first part is you're going to list 6 of your past accomplishments. And so you're going to list, this is what you did. Okay, so you're going to list accomplishment number 1. And then over here, you're going to check which kind of motivations drove that, helped you to achieve that goal. So maybe it was the challenge of it. You can just click, as long as you're in Microsoft Word and you have enabled the editing, you should be able to just click on the box and a little X will go in it. So let's say that accomplishment number 1 was a challenge and you felt it was a feeling of accomplishment when you were done. And then you have accomplishment, well, kind of, number 2. And you did that for the recognition. You were kind of under pressure to do it, but you also felt accomplished. Okay, so you list each one of these, 6 of them, and do the check marks in whatever box is appropriate for the motivation. And then you go through and you add up the columns. So like here you have 1 check mark here, and you've got 1 here, 1 here, and you've got 2 over here. So this helps you to see, to kind of define what one of your strongest motivational factors are. Okay, because the one that has the most check marks is what motivates you the most. Any questions about that part?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And then part 2, yeah, that part's pretty straightforward. But this one, I want to make sure that you all understand how this goes. So this is setting short and long-term goals. It gives you an example up here of here's the long-term goal, and here are the short-term goals. So these are the baby steps. The short-term goals are the baby steps that get you to accomplish the big thing. Okay. And so this is just an example. You are actually given the long-term goals. You don't get to pick your long-term goals. The first one is, my long-term goal is to successfully complete my education at Herzing University by, and then you just click in this box and you enter the year. You can put a month and a day or a month and a year or something, but basically this is a date. This is to make it time bound, like we were talking about. Okay. Then you're going to come down here, and in order to successfully complete your education by that time, what are 4 things you need to do? And when you click in here, you're going to type the baby steps. And these are also going to be worded as a SMART goal. So remember, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So these are going to be specific. So like, what is one thing in order to graduate? What's one thing you have to do?
Do all your work.
Right. Okay. And so we need to put a little more detail in that. So maybe we start with this moment, our current class load, and maybe we say that we want to complete, well, and what's something you have to do to be able to complete your classes with passing grades? Or some people say they want A's in everything. So, and to do that, you commit to studying whatever time, 2 hours a night for the remainder of the semester, in order to make sure that you're putting the time in and the effort to pass those classes. So you can talk about study time that you need to put in. You can talk about that the grades you want to achieve. You can, there's a number of different things that will help you achieve that. Some people commit to making sure that they get enough sleep so that the brain works correctly, but make sure and put a time bound on it. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then you do the same with the next goal that they give you. The next one is, my long-term career goal is to obtain a position as, and maybe, Della, what program are you in?
Say it again.
What program are you in?
The LPN program.
Okay, so you want to be an LPN within 2 months of graduating from Hersey. Okay, so there are short-term things that you have to do that, because you'll probably have to pass some sort of test. You have to do, you also need to find a place to work. If it's not like just moving up in the place you're already working, even if it is moving up in the place you're already working, you have to talk to somebody about moving up, right? So there are all sorts of things that are going to get you in position to have that job, that career within a couple months of graduation. Make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then the last part is, it's kind of fun. And especially, again, make sure you open this in Microsoft Word, or else it won't work correctly. This one, you get to just paste some, you're making a vision board, because it's kind of like the saying, if you can conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it. I don't know if you've heard that one before, but this is the part when you create a vision board, when you can see yourself doing something. This is putting little pictures on a board of the things you want that you're drawing into your life. And so we're doing it obviously digitally, and it gives the instructions on what to do. And that's what's listed here, but I'm just going to show you. When you come down here, you're going to see these blank boxes. And as long as you're in Microsoft Word, you will see this little icon, this little picture icon in the middle. You have to have that picture icon for the rest of these things to work, because you click on that icon and it's going to bring up this window asking you, where do you want to insert the pictures from? Well, if you already have pictures on your computer, you can just go to your browse your computer and select those images. But a lot of people don't. So the Bing image search, that takes you to another search engine like Google, except it's Microsoft's engine. And let's say, so you want to be an LPN. So let's see what happens when we put LPN in the search box, and then click the little search icon. And there we go. So we have pictures of nurses. I'm not sure why we have an airplane on there. but we have pictures of nurses. And then if you just, you look through, I think that's funny that we have buses and airplanes in there. But anyway, when you find a picture that you like, you can just double click on it or single click on it and select insert. If you single click on the insert, or you double click, and it'll download it and it'll paste it into that box. And then you do the same with each of the other boxes. And these are representing the different goals and tasks that you have indicated in your long and short-term goals. Okay? Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So that's the one that's going to probably take the longest time, this worksheet. Then the other worksheet, let me see. If I put that there, what do you see on your end, Della?
It's nothing showing. It's just like this little blue screen.
Okay. Okay. So let me. Okay. How about now? Do you see that assessment B?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So this one, you're going to download this worksheet, but it basically just gives you the steps as to how to access the Career Center and how to go in there and set up. You're going to look at the overview. You're going to set up, it gives you your career coach's name. It takes you, gives you some information about this, because that's one of the really big benefits here at Herzing. You get a career coach right here in the beginning who's going to work with you throughout your program, and then help you achieve all your goals at the end of your program to get into your career. So this follow the steps. It's going to take you through the steps, and then at the bottom of this worksheet there are a couple of things for you to do. There are 3 questions. So number 1, how did you connect with your career coach? And as long as you're using Microsoft Word, you'll get this drop-down menu. Let's say you communicated with them via email. So select email. Then it says, make sure you get that document, the life cycle working career development, from your career coach. That's the one I talked about last week. If you have not contacted your career coach yet, you want to do it right away, because I know one of them for sure is out of town. He's still checking his email, but he'll be slower to get back to you. And I don't know if he has indicated somebody else that you can contact also. But anyway, do it now, because if you wait until Sunday, you're not going to get this document. And you don't have to do anything on the document. All you have to do is make sure that you upload it along with this worksheet. You have to upload both those documents into this folder, the submit assignment folder for this assessment. Okay, and then just a couple of questions to answer. What did you learn from completing the profile? And how do you think your career coach can help you achieve your goals? So write 2 or 3 sentences about that. Make sure they're complete sentences. And just a little bit about your experience. And then that's it. Save it and upload this along with that life cycle document. And you're done. So any questions on any of the assignments?
No, ma'am.
Okay. For those of you watching the recording, if you have any questions or run into any problems, as always, don't hesitate to email me, call me, text me, and I will help you. Okay. Any other questions or comments about anything that you've run into, Della?
No, ma'am, I don't have no more questions.
Okay. All right. Then we're out of here early today, Della.
Well, that's fine with me.
Yeah. Woohoo. Okay. All right. Well, and then this is the last meeting because next week is a very short week. You only have like a day and a half. This is all assignments are due Tuesday. This says Tuesday night by 11:59 p.m. But on the assignment itself, it says noon, 11:59 a.m. And so only the ones who are watching this will know that they can actually go to the PM. Everybody else thinks they only get the AM. So a little bit of a bonus for you. But there's only one assignment next week, and that's a main post in the discussion, and you're going to reflect on how what we did in class helped achieve the objectives. And in the directions, it'll list the 3 main objectives for this class. These were the goals we hoped to accomplish with the lessons that were provided in this class. And so I want you to take each one of those objectives and write about which assignments that we did helped you achieve that objective. Okay. It's not just a reflection on the class itself. This is actually how what you did helped you achieve these objectives. Okay. So any questions on that when you get there, just let me know.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here with me, Della. And I will see you in the classroom.
All righty. Thank you.
Okay. You have a wonderful night.
You too.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.